Hi, my name is Jos Smolders, and this is Thursday Afternoon Talks, a series of weekly discussions I have with Frans de Waard about an album, an artist, a label, a genre, or another something musical. This time we have a conversation with Wouter Jaspers. Wouter is a prolific improviser and performer using electronic gadgets and irregular circuitry. Wouter moved from my hometown, Tilburg in the Netherlands, to Berlin in 2009 to start Koma Elektronik together with Christian Zollner. Koma Elektronik produced modular devices, at first pedals and later Eurorack modules. Wouter left Koma Elektronik a few years ago to focus more on personal growth and performances. In this talk, we talk about his work so far and his plans for the future. So Wouter, welcome to Thursday Afternoon Talks. Today we have a special episode because we are not in our respective studios, but Frans is visiting you in Berlin. Can you tell a bit about where you two are at the moment?
Yeah, of course. We're in my studio workspace here in Berlin. This is where I make music, where I work and tinker on electronics, build electronics, design things, fix things. Yeah, my little personal heaven.
Personal space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I already introduced you when I did the intro to the video. We have known each other since 2008, 9, 10. When you lived in Tilburg, just as I did. And I still remember you from that period as a very energetic person with big ideas, of which I always thought, wow, that's ambitious. Which of the plans will come through? But most of them came through, and especially when you... I don't know when it was exactly. You visited my studio and you told me you were going to move to Berlin. And I thought, okay. And after a while, a few months, I believe you really had left town and moved all your stuff to Berlin. And you also stated that you were going to start a label and a business over there. Can you tell a bit about how did this whole Berlin idea come up in your mind?
Yeah, I think for that we need to go back some years. I think around the time when we met each other, like I think it was even 2007 already, or 2006, 2007.
Possibly.
You know, I was a young kid. I was very excited for life, living in the city. I come from a very small town. We were actually born in the same hospital, probably, or at least the same town. Jos, I realized the other day.
We go way back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Really the same home soil. No, I was in Tilburg, and I mean, Tilburg's a very nice town. It's very comfortable. There's a lot of students, a lot of musicians. There's a conservatory, there's a dance school, there's a ballet academy, there's a rock academy.
Yeah, even.
So there was a lot of stuff happening in that town, and that really, while I was studying there, I was really inspired to go out and do a bunch of stuff in life. And also Tilburg showed me that it's really possible to organize and to make cool stuff happen. But then, I also realized that with the 200,000 people that had back then, it was very small. And
I needed also something bigger, a bigger boat.
Yeah, maybe. And also the Netherlands by itself, of course, is a very small country. So if you want to make a career there, I mean, it's real nice, but it's you'll kind of, live, have a Dutch career in that sense. And I think I could have had a mega comfortable and nice life in the Netherlands, but I was just out for adventure, and Berlin really called for me. First,
Well, you think that the music scene that you were part of in Tilburg was too small?
no,
And how did you meet these people? Was there because you came across them at concerts, or how do you know people like Stapelvarer and Vincent Koreman and Jos?
Jos and Bas. I met Bas van Beek actually. He was a music journalist around that time, and I was very interested in music. I was already playing in bands and doing a bunch of things. And then actually Bas was really into noise at that point in time, and he wanted to start groups, and I just went down that path with him. Yeah, so we had a group called the Jim Morrisons, which was like harsh noise performance stuff. And then at some point, we always kept it fully anonymous until we were ready to play some shows. We got all our outfits, we did rehearsals, we were ready to do the noise thing. I guess this was 2005 or so. And then Vincent Koreman was organizing a big festival in a venue in Tilburg, big venue in Tilburg, and then we got ourselves booked for that festival, which was our first show. So we loaded everything up in shopping carts from the Dutch supermarket and rolled everything from Bas's place already fully in outfit.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So absolutely unrecognizable. Nobody knew it was us. And also Vincent, when he booked us, didn't know it was us until we, told him pretty much a couple months later.
Oh, yeah?
No, the Tilburg music scene was awesome, and it's a lot of really nice people, and it was very comfortable, and it was a lot of fun.
But in the end, you thought it was too small.
But after a while, I played in every single venue that Tilburg had to offer. I think I knew at that time pretty much everybody interested in experimental music. So at some point, I just made up my mind. Said, hey, if I don't do it now, I have nothing holding me back. If I don't move now and go somewhere else, then I'll probably never do it again because it was so comfortable and so nice. So actually, it was quite hard for me to leave Tilburg also because it was so comfortable. So my strategy was, before I go, I will start telling everybody that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So once I told everybody I'm leaving, then I kind of have to go.
Yeah.
So
all your bridges.
Not really, but it's just I felt that I kind of if I'm talk the talk, walk the walk. So I just used that strategy. So I gave up my house like 3 or 4 months before I left Tilburg, moved everything to my then studio, lived from my studio in an old vault, literally a vault, for a couple months until it was time to leave.
Yeah. What was the master plan? Going to Berlin, see what you can do, or was it already you had this idea to start a company and make the apparatus you made with Koma? Was it already a seed back in your mind, or you thought it was something that happened later on?
I think it happened way more organically.
Okay.
So when I moved to Berlin, that was the time. So I was really involved in the noise scene. I got a lot of offers to play everywhere. I was literally emailing every single person I could possibly find to see if I could do shows. I could play. I could. So I think in those years, it was like 160 shows a year was normal for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, having to go to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam all the time, or going to Brussels to fly out, it also makes a lot of sense to do my touring more central in Europe, and Berlin also made a lot of sense. I actually really thought about going to Brussels for a while too.
Okay.
Because I really like Brussels. It's an amazing town. But it was a bit too close also.
I remember
Too close.
I remember early on that we were going together to somewhere, to Lithuania, and Wouter had the exact timing when to leave the house, get on the tram, get to Schönefeld Airport, and fly out. And it was maybe 22 minutes or something like that. But it was like a military position.
To the minute. Yeah.
And I thought, this is what I thought. Oh, if you live so close by an airport, it's makes more sense to do, all of these small. This was why flying was a normal thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, and I can see if you go from Tilburg to Schiphol, it's quite a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, makes sense.
So that was the other reason, but of course I needed adventure. I spent most of my youth in the Netherlands. I already got a feeling of the touring life. I already traveled the whole of Europe with my music at that point, and I just felt that I was ready for kind of a new challenge.
Yeah,
I met the guys from.
Then you were also always interested in electronic tinkering stuff with your performances. And then how did Koma get into the picture? The idea of starting your own, because you started with Koma together with Christian, and you you started making those pedals. That was the first products that you designed. So where did you meet Christian, and how did you get to the idea of we're starting a business and we're going to do this?
This was I was at this time in Amsterdam. I was doing I was hosting a workshop there about independent musicianship and making your own devices, and Christian was back then following. He came to visit my workshop. He was there for a residency at that point, and we just met there pretty much. We had a good chat. We figured out that we both lived in Berlin, close to each other. That we had very similar ideas about making music and ways to make music, and it just made a lot of sense to meet up at least. So we hung out together once, and I don't know, from the moment I met him till we met again in Berlin, there was this idea brewing in my head, also instigated by us meeting. And I just felt like, hey, this might. I have so many ideas about machines I want to make. Maybe it's a cool thing to do with Christian, who at that point, well, still, but at that point definitely had a lot more knowledge about the technical side of things. And so we started with just a bunch of ideas that we had. We started with the pedals, then became more and more synthesizer stuff, until we hit a moment in our company where we were that broke and didn't know anymore really where to take it. And then I was with my partner. I was at a mountain in Davos in Switzerland. I think pretty overworked and a little bit burned out. And I was like, we need to find a new idea. And then the idea for the Field Kit series kind of popped in my head.
Yeah, but now you're making a huge leap.
Yeah. So you wanted to talk through them a bit more.
I know, but it's. You started, I believe, with the Koma in
2011.
Yeah,
2011. Yeah.
Yeah, and
1st of March officially. A bit before that, I think I met Christian in 2010, and then we kind of started working on the company from September onwards, 2010, and then we officially founded the company and incorporated it on the 1st of March 2011.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
we'll take your word
anyway,
for it.
It was a very exciting time. For
Definitely.
years you kept coming up with the ideas, and you what I find interesting is that on the surface you think you are full of ideas and chaotic. What I find interesting is how you developed from a performer, improviser, having all these creative thoughts, going into a business where you need to be very disciplined and focused, and have to make difficult decisions, taking risks financially, creatively, logistically, etc. Was that what I mean? In your opinion, is this something? Well, I have learned a lot there, or it came naturally, or
Oh, I think anybody who starts a business age 25, at any age in life, I think will learn a lot of things.
yeah,
And that journey is mega interesting because you learn a bunch of techniques and strategies on how to deal with things, but you learn
yeah,
a lot about yourself too, especially once you start hiring people. And you know, as a company grows, you have to grow with it too. But with that, of course, also comes the responsibility. So I think most of my time with Koma was just a roller coaster ride. You know,
Yeah.
we kept growing, we kept changing things up, we kept trying out new things, and it was for that a perfect vehicle also to be able to channel all that creativity, especially for the instruments, but also organizing workshops, organizing concerts at our office, becoming a connection point for people where people can meet and can work together. And so I learned a lot. And about myself, but also a lot of new techniques about how to actually do something like this.
Yeah. Would you say that doing all of that also in the end was to say, okay, it's now time to leave this behind and focus more on doing on the creative side and not so much on the, if you have a business as a business side.
Yeah, after a while, like if like I was getting 200 emails a day. I had 10 people working for me. It's just the responsibility piles up, and I started it back in the day as a
two-man company.
Well, it was, yes, but in a very creative manner. Like I designed all the products, the way that they looked, etc. But most of the products I did the conceptual design and the user interface design, and like how does somebody use this. That was what really attracted me to making. That still really attracts me to making instruments, like to make
and more than just running a business. You want more to create stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm definitely in essence a creator, not a business guy. Although a lot of people at some point only saw me as a business guy.
Yeah.
But I never stopped making music really. Like I never stopped performing, but it was a lot less than before I started the company.
Sure.
And back in 2020, I decided that it was time to go my own way again and leave the business behind and really focus on the creative again in my life.
Right. So I suggest we listen now to some music. First, I think it's very interesting to bring the viewers who do not know you very well to your earlier music. Do you have a certain suggestion of a track or an album that we take a track from?
Maybe we can listen to Chips. What's it called? The third track of my first album, Exhibition. I think it's called Geiger Counting. It's short and sweet.
This doesn't worry you at all? I said this doesn't worry you at all?
It's what?
Doesn't worry you?
No. It's just for a short time. Just for less than 1 minute. Now it will feel that. At top level. This place.
We listened to Geiger Counting. Your artist name at the time was Frans Fjodor.
Yeah,
I never asked you, what does this mean?
absolutely nothing.
Oh.
It's just my second name is Frans. I think that's why.
That's always
I should have just used my own name. I don't know why.
Whatever.
I don't understand. I still don't know why, but I have, I got 100 pseudonyms by now. So.
There is a story behind that album. It's from 2008. Tell us a story.
Well, I was traveling a lot around that time with the noise stuff, and I was really inspired by a lot of different, more ambient works, and I really wanted to experiment more with field recording, which at that point was rather new to me still. So I pretty much wherever I went, I took a recorder with me. And Geiger Counting that we just listened to, it has a very basic synth line. It has guitar by Bram Stadhouders. I asked him to play it as such.
Oh, Bram, yeah.
Yeah, so also from Tilburg. It was fully made in Tilburg, this record. And then the end recording was from me sitting in a car, driving out to Pripyat in the Ukraine, through Pripyat in Ukraine towards the reactor in Chernobyl. And you hear the Geiger counter, the whole song, going up and down, and this lady asking, "Does it worry you at all?" And it was like such a striking moment, because the man was so dismissive of her comment, and said, "No." While he did this, I asked him later. He told us that he was doing this for like 15 years already. So every day almost he drove into the radiation zone, and visiting that place for one time is not so bad for you. But
Is the album have more field recordings from from that area, from the Ukraine?
Yeah, well, some from the Ukraine. I've traveled also. I think it has some field recordings from India, from Theresienstadt, from Chernobyl, I believe, and some more.
Because this album is already a move from your earliest noise stuff into more ambient, layered, atmospheric work, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this was the starting of my more atmospheric work. This was also still all very improvised, I feel. These pieces all kind of came together in the studio. I had a lot of ideas for them, of course, because I had the field recordings already I wanted to work with. But it all kind of came together in the studio. I also don't play all the parts. I just invited friends of mine that played interesting instruments, and I pretty much told them, play me this. I would record it. I would layer it up. Play me this. So there's some accordion on there, some cello.
All right.
There's Bram playing the guitar. There's vocals from a bunch of different people that, I when I was still in Tilburg, I had a lot of people coming through my studio all the time.
Yeah.
And everybody there, pretty much, I asked them to, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do that? And with all those like found sound and recordings, I just made the records. And this was, in that way, still quite improvised. I think later on I moved more into a collage style of working, and more sitting behind the actual piano keyboard, writing down notes and working more with melody. More away from the drone, and finding more space in between the notes and getting more acquainted with that. But I think Exhibition was for me still an important album, because I broke away from pure improvisation and pure noise, and went more for a more atmospheric approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you said there's a lot of recordings. There aren't a lot of releases. Is a reason for it? Is it
Well, a lot of releases, Frans. I think I must have released over 45, 50 records in the last 10 years.
Oh, all right.
So like, I don't know if that's, I mean, I know pop guys working in pop and girls working in pop that maybe do one every 3 years, you know.
True.
I still feel I released a lot of music.
Okay.
compared to France, of course,
Well,
it's a different story. I mean,
Oh yeah, that counts for everyone. So
exactly.
Almost
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah,
But,
he has
no, but
30 more years.
what you told, what we were talking about just now is actually really interesting in the sense that you started out as a noise improviser. I will show some videos about on YouTube. There are live performances where you really rock the boat, as it were. And then you moved to a more quieter, more paced, sort of layered music that is harmonically. Well, I can have my mother listen to it as well. It's really nice music. So what is it that you? Now let's go a different way. Your music is quite relaxed, well paced. I won't say quiet, but it's music to read a good book by or something like that. And that's what the things that you do in the studio. But you also find it very important to still perform. And at the end of your period with Koma, you focused very much on. You designed this piece of hardware that you could use to take your modular into the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? Yeah. So to me, that all that gives me an image of someone who likes to leave the city and take his music with him to more quieter, relaxed environments. Is that something that, or am I just dreaming this up?
No, not really. I guess the journey and being away, being away from traditional instruments and using sound around us has always been in my work. And to be like, I really like to re-record things in nature, or to go away from the studio, have a bunch of speakers, have a bunch of sound that I maybe recorded in the studio, re-amp it, and re-record it in a natural environment. It gives so much context, and it's the materiality of the material also shines through changing where you actually play it, record it, even live or in a recording environment, you know.
How does that work? Is it like you record something in the studio, you take it with you, and you play it again and record it again? In a natural.
I do this all the time. Or if I find a nice stairwell with a lot of concrete, I put a speaker below, and I just walk up. I put my recorder on top, and I just start blasting material. I really think that it gives. You can buy all the expensive microphones in the world, like all and get like the most perfect recording, but that's not where the soul is at. I use crappy microphones, crappy speakers onto a reasonably crappy recorder,
Mm-hmm.
but at least it all has soul and it has been somewhere. And
But
people,
it's not about the lo-fi aesthetic of it, right? It's
No, not
because
that-
it's a combination.
it's a combination, yeah. Like it's definitely my music is quite a lo-fi aesthetic. I feel,
Yeah.
but you can record it real nice and real crisp, and I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But certain things ask for a different environment. So I love taking things out, finding special occasions, if it's urban or in outside of the city,
Mm-hmm.
where I can re-record things and make them blend in with different spaces, and that in the end then makes the piece of music more than the chord progressions or
Of course,
yeah. It's the
What we-
situational music.
Yeah, and do you think is Geiger Counting already? Because you also there you talked about the layering, the field recording that you made, and you layered that with musical tones. Is that a a good example of an early piece that you already did then?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's I think even on that song we had the windows open of the studio, so you could hear a train go by at some point too, which kind of makes it even. You're kind of in two spaces at the same time. You're in close to Chernobyl, but you're also center Tilburg. So it's the first kind of of course, this first type of experiments with that.
Yeah.
You can do it in a natural sense. But I also like to invite the outside world in many of my works, like true reamping, like I just said, but also by using radio waves to shape another situation in which my music happens.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of that is a piece I made some years back called Air Control, for which I used a lot of air traffic signals from the Berliner airport.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a bunch of works by Satie,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the Josem van Wissem trick. I just put them in reverse, and then I kind of rearranged it. I cut them up and put them on top of the radio waves.
Okay. Shall we listen to it for a moment?
Yes, I think that's a...
Because I think I mastered that album.
Exactly.
Didn't I? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Quite a while ago. You can also look at our conversations. Go to YouTube channel Thursday Afternoon Talks. See you there.
Gravity 11, maintain the number 6 traffic, land and right, just left, Darwin, 2 to 45.